If, like me, you've been a Valve fan for many years, you'll be used to not knowing anything about what Valve is doing or what they're working on. They're pretty secretive over there, and they take their sweet time with whatever it is that they're doing. However, there are some new Half-Life 3 rumours, sure, and they're also working on this interesting, let's say, looking game called Deadlock. The big news, though, of course, is that there's this new leak about this project that they're working on that apparently is Half-Life related. I'll get to Deadlock in a minute, and I also want to talk about Counter-Strike as well, and Valve more generally, but let's talk about this Half-Life thing first. So the big news is that there is a voice actor who listed a Valve project on a resume or something online, a Valve game that they've listed as being called Project White Sands, codenamed Project White Sands. Apparently, and this is according to Gabe Follower and Tyler McVicker, just before Half-Life Alyx shipped, Valve began working on another single-player game, and from data mining updates from other Valve games, the codename of this game is HLX. So supposedly that this is some sort of Half-Life project that's going on, and Project White Sands is the same thing. And McVicker thinks that it may be a fully fledged single-player Half-Life game. He talks about it in a video that just came out recently after this leak, which I'll link in the description below if you want to have a look. I'm not getting my hopes up, and I'll get more onto that in a minute. If you're a Half-Life fan, you'll know there's been stuff like this over the years, and they never work out. And we know since Alyx came out that there's been a few attempts to get a Half-Life 3 going within Valve, but it just never materialised, or it got cancelled, or whatever. The codename itself, I think, is interesting. I don't know how much kind of weight we should put into that, and I know Valve has seemingly used pretty random codenames for things in the past, but this seems intentional. White Sands, Snow, Borealis, maybe. White Sands is also the location of some military facility in New Mexico, apparently, or some location in New Mexico, which of course is the state where the Black Mesa research facility was based. I don't think that's much of a reach. It sounds like it's probably intentional to me. And again, I'm not going to get too excited. I used to follow every Half-Life rumour when I was younger, every Half-Life 3 rumour that came out. And I want it to be true. Obviously, I'm a big Half-Life fan. I think Half-Life 2 is probably still my favourite game of all time. And I do think that they're definitely working on something. I think there was a shift after Alyx. They kind of came out of that wilderness of cancelled projects and not knowing what they're doing. And I think they are working on something Half-Life related. This HLX thing has definitely been cooking in the background for a while now. I think there's been so many leaks from data mines over the years that proves that, just like there was with Alyx before that was announced. There were loads of leaks for a HLVR before that came out. So I think they are working on a new Half-Life title. Whether it will actually see the light of day is another question entirely, but regardless, I'm not going to get my hopes up. So besides this HLX White Sands thing, we also know that Valve is working on something called Deadlock, which is like an open secret at this point. It's had loads of leaks. You've probably seen them. I'm not going to put any of the footage or screenshots or anything in this video just in case. And this is set to be the first new Valve IP in ages. It should really be an exciting thing, but I can't say I'm particularly excited. I don't think it looks great. I know it's probably still at the alpha stage and it's far from being in a completed state. Well, I mean, actually it does look kind of quite far along, but even so, I'm not really sure about it. It's supposed to be this mashup of TF2 and Overwatch and Dota, apparently, according to playtesters. There are lanes like Dota, but it's also this kind of third-person hero shooter, kind of. I don't know, do we need something like this? Do we need more hero shooters? Concord just kind of came out the other day, or had an open beta, and everybody hated it. There seems to be more Overwatch clones at the minute than ever. I don't really know why. I'm not sure why Valve thinks this is the... I don't know. Maybe it will be good. Who knows? Maybe it will revolutionise class shooters and hero shooters and MOBAs by just mashing them all up. but probably not. I mean, Valve already has a pretty great class-based shooter as well, if you didn't know. It's called Team Fortress 2. I don't think they know, because they've neglected it heavily over the years, and maybe it's the bias of me being a big TF2 fan, but, you know, I'm sure Valve could probably spend less time, less resources, less money by, instead of working on Deadlock, working on a big TF2 Source 2 overhaul that would just revitalise the game and bring people back and make Valve a shitload of money. But I mean, that's never going to happen, so never mind. But they're not doing that, obviously. They're doing this Deadlock thing. It's still being play tested. As I said, it's like an open secret at this point, and it's only a matter of time before there's a full reveal. But personally, I can't really say I'm looking forward to it. I mean, my general opinion on Valve has really changed a lot over the years, and you know, with Deadlock in particular, there's a few reasons just based on how Valve has been over the last few years that just doesn't make me excited at all about it. And now, you know, every kind of release that they have, I can't help but treat with a lot of skepticism. I mean, I'm honestly kind of shocked at the state of Counter-Strike 2 and how that launch has gone. You know, it's been I think it's been 2 years now. I don't understand how it's even maintained the numbers, honestly, over the last year or so, with there being basically no meaningful content updates added to the game. There still hasn't been an operation in CS2 yet. It's been years since the last Counter-Strike operation at all, the last one that was in CSGO. I guess it just, and I guess it just proves that Valve just don't actually have to like do anything, and people will still play it and buy skins and give them loads of money, basically. I quit playing CS2 a few months ago now because the cheating problem was just so bad. I managed to solo queue through the Premier ranks quite a bit. And I would just keep falling way back down the ranks because I get around 10 to 15k rank. You know, I'm not the best at CS, but every game would have like at least one hacker. And then when you get into a losing streak with each consecutive loss, meaning that you lose even more and more of your rank with each one of those losses, it's really easy to fall down the ranks. So I just stopped playing the game because, you know, the odd one would be fair and it's like whatever, but a lot of them were just due to there being blatant hackers and cheaters in the game, and people being open and honest about it as well over chat, which I just thought was just insane. I know they started up the VAC Live thing again. I don't know how effective that's been. I still see lots of stuff and content from CS YouTubers about there being hackers and cheaters, so I'm not... you know, if there was suddenly some big update where they really did overhaul the way that they approach hackers and cheaters and they rooted a lot of them out of the game, then I would come back and have a look. But for now, I can't see myself playing it anytime soon until they either add loads of content or actually do something really meaningful about the hackers and the cheaters, because they just ruined the game for me, personally. It might be a case of resources as well. Valve isn't a huge company. They have a few hundred members of staff, I think. Maybe most people are kind of split working between Deadlock and whatever this Half-Life project is. I don't know. But CS2's been out for nearly 2 years now, and I think it's honestly pathetic that it's in the state that it's in. It's had no kind of content support, and you've still got a big cheater problem. I don't get how so many people are still playing it, and how there isn't more of a kind of community outcry about it. Because I mean, there is obviously, but I'm surprised there isn't more pressure on Valve to do something about it, because it's just kind of ridiculous. Team Fortress is obviously still a mess. It's gotten a bit better in the last few weeks, but that's only because there's been huge community outcry again. There's been another Save TF2 campaign or Fix TF2 campaign, so Valve actually bothered to put its finger out and do something about it. But generally speaking, they've just left TF2 to rot over the years. And all of this really doesn't give me any confidence in Deadlock. I'm expecting that it will just end up lacking content, and eventually it will be full of hackers. And I don't, you know, and Valve will still make plenty of money off of it through the Steam marketplace, I'm sure. They'll probably support it at the beginning. But it's difficult to see why you should invest time and energy in learning and trying to enjoy and play a game like this, which I'm presuming is going to be aimed at being a kind of competitive game, it being a, you know, MOBA type thing, when it's probably just going to end up lacking support and just end up being full of hackers and cheaters and being left to rot like their other games. There'll be no communication. You know, like with CS2, I'm just so surprised about it. I keep going on about it, I know, but like, it came out less than 2 years ago. You would have thought, I thought this would be kind of like a big shift almost for Valve. Like, you had Alex, and then them shipping CS2. I thought, you know, they talked about doing seasons. I thought, okay, you know, they must have stuff planned. They're not going to just like launch the game and then like not do this season thing or not have an operation. I thought there'd be an operation like kind of 4 months after the game launched or something, and there's just been nothing. I haven't said anything about it, and I know that's very typical for Valve. They don't communicate. I'm just, I don't know. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I am surprised. I don't want to be negative about Valve, and you know, I'm not, as I said, I'm not letting myself get excited about this Project White Sands. I've been hurt too many times before trying to get excited about Half-Life rumours. But as a long-time Valve fan, it's difficult to not feel pretty disillusioned with Valve, to be honest. I will say the one positive of this era of Valve was Half-Life Alyx, where they proved they can still make great single-player experiences, and do so while demonstrating how new technologies can be used. The way that Half-Life 2 used a Source engine and advanced physics, Half-Life Alyx has become the kind of defining title of VR. But that was nearly 5 years ago now. Yeah, I'm sure it was over 4 years ago. And since then we've had this lackluster release of CS2, while Valve is working on this other online multiplayer game that I'm not sure people really need or want. Hopefully Project White Sands is real and is far along. I have more confidence in their ability to still be able to produce a really good single player experience after Alex, but whether or not we'll actually get to see it, and if it is even real, it remains to be seen. I'm not going to hold my breath, because I half expect it to be cancelled or turned into something else and have some other project start that also never sees the light of day, while we end up having Deadlock will probably release, because that seems fairly far along, and then we'll end up being kind of abandoned and full of cheaters or lacking content or something. I don't know. I really don't want to be this negative about Valve, but it's very difficult not to. They haven't done much in the last few years that's, as a Valve fan, gives me much confidence in them anymore, which is a sad thing. But hopefully Deadlock is actually okay. Who knows? I just hope this Half-Life thing is real. Anyway, thank you for watching. I do really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please do leave a like, and please do subscribe if you're interested in more content like this. And please comment down below as well. Let me know what you think about all of this, because I'm not a very optimistic Valve fan, clearly. But yeah, I'd be interested to know what you guys think. But yeah, thanks again for watching.